I mean, Merce, that's incredible. 2 goals away from 50 and becoming the youngest player to score 50 when he gets there, ahead of the legend Thierry Henry. I mean, that is some going, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, for a winger as well.
Yeah.
And he plays out on the wing. Do you know what I mean? Amazing. He puts up figures. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves, if I'm being honest.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know. He just does his job consistently every week. It's like we take it for granted, and that's why I don't think he gets the credit. It's like we expect him to do what he does week in, week out.
And he loves playing against Tottenham.
Who doesn't? If you play for Arsenal, you don't love playing against Tottenham, you shouldn't be at Arsenal.
No.
You shouldn't be at Arsenal. This is the big game. This is the game. When the fixtures come out, this is the game you look for. It's an amazing game. This lets nobody down, this game. It lets no neutral. There's always goals in this game. It's a big derby game.
And explain, that goal we saw there is so typical of Bukayo Saka. We saw it in the Euros. He cuts in from the right, and then we see the shot. And defenders know what he's going to do, but so often can't prevent him doing it. Why?
His body movement, he's got low centre of gravity. We know he's going to go there and then come back in here, but he does it so well that if you just wait there, he can go that way. And if he goes that way, he's going to make you look very, very silly. And you've got to remember, because he's so quick, defenders are running over at such a pace, it's so hard for them to stop, even though they know if they stop, he goes that way and then it's impossible. So, yeah, a special player who performs week in, week out. He's always a 7. He's a 7 or more. I've never trying to think off the top of my head when he's been a 5 or a 6. He's consistently good. And that's hard when you're a winger, because you either get so much of the ball, you get fed up with it, or you get none of the ball. He always gets enough of it, and that means he's a good player.
And Tim, that's manna from heaven for a manager to have a player who consistently does it. In terms of consistency, they've definitely got it at Arsenal now in terms of their manager, because Mikel Arteta on Thursday signed that new contract that takes him through till 2027. He reached those 100 Premier League wins in 169 games, puts him 5th on the list behind the likes of Pep Guardiola, Mourinho, Klopp and Sir Alex Ferguson as well. In terms of what they're trying to do at Arsenal, that contract extension, how big a moment is that potentially?
It's fantastic for Mikel. I mean, he's certainly going in the right direction. It's just a shame they got a juggernaut in Man City up there and they can't beat him. The trophy return's not fantastic, is it? 1 FA Cup, but that aside, it's not because of the job he's doing. It's because how good Man City are and Pep Guardiola. His numbers are incredible. I think he's a top man. I think he's a very, very good manager. He looks to get the ear of all of his players. I think his recruitment's been fantastic as well. It's a big game tomorrow. He needs to find solutions, because looks like he's got a couple of injuries. A suspension to Declan Rice, an injury to Odegaard if he's out. He's got to find a solution to that. 2 of your most consistent performers to go to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and get maximum points can be very difficult for him. Mercy's absolutely right. In my eyes, I'm a North London boy. This is the biggest game in the world for me. I mean, this is everything. I mean, I'm talking about this game now and my palms are sweating. Just even thinking about it. This is an incredible game of football, and it never lets you down, ever. Anyone down. This is about goals, and even more so with Ange Postecoglou. We know what he's like. He won't care who's playing for Arsenal. He won't care if Declan Rice all of a sudden gets back in, which he ain't going to be, or Odegaard plays. He will play his own way with Tottenham, and they will go for the jugular tomorrow. It will be a fantastic game of football.
And Merce, before we get absolutely stuck in, particularly to what he may or may not do with his midfield, depending on that injury to Martin Odegaard, in terms of that new contract, in terms of where Mikel Arteta sits, in terms of other managers, here he is, 235 games, that win percentage of 59. Of course, Wenger, huge amount of games, a couple of percentage points less. But, I mean, that's some amazing company. Harry Bradshaw, Herbert Chapman as well, and Unai Emery. Is he the kind of manager, when you were at Arsenal, you'd love to have played for?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a phenomenal manager. You just half feel for him because of who he's come up against in timings. If he was one of the other managers, he would have won the league many for the last 2 or 3 seasons. Amazing manager. What he does, he improves players. That's what good managers do. They make players better players. And that's what he does. He's an amazing manager, brings himself across well. If I was him, I'd be ringing my agent and saying, how comes Jackson's got 6 years more than me? But you'd be happy.
And it's part of the thinking here, Clinton, in terms of that contract extension, making sure that this Arsenal side are ready to pounce if and when Guardiola departs City.
Yeah, whether it's a year, 2 years, as soon as Pep goes, making this Arsenal team. But no, they still going to be challenging this season. But it's just trying to keep all these key players fit and healthy, and then keep improving the squad like Mikel Arteta's done. But there will come a point where they'll judge him because he's spending a lot of money on, you've got to win the Premier League. And it's just, as Tim and Merce just alluded to, he's in an era where he's against the best manager probably of all time in Pep Guardiola. So it's going to be so difficult for him. But he deserves that new contract because I think the job he's done at Arsenal has been fantastic.
I mean, potentially, Tim, as we touched on already, missing two key midfielders. Definitely without Declan Rice. And we'll look at that red card from a couple of weeks ago in a short while. But Odegaard may or may not play. If those two are definitely missing, how does that Arsenal midfield shape up tomorrow for you?
Well, it's a huge miss. Obviously, I think Declan's a huge miss because he stops that counter from that fast-paced counter from Tottenham players. I think they may perhaps drop Havertz back.
Yeah.
One. I will not be surprised if Raheem Sterling made his debut on the left-hand side there, full debut. Trossard, he could play as a false nine. He's got options in there. Partey will certainly play in there. Jorginho, you would think, will play in there as well. So he has got options, but he needs to find the right solution because it's going to be blood and thunder in there. You know, these games are like that. I'm not saying it's a kick fest. It never is any. Now the way the games are refereed. But certainly the pace of the game, Tottenham play one way, 100 mile an hour, and they will go for it tomorrow. So it's going to be a wide open game of football. I can't wait to watch it, but I'll be watching it from... I'm going to the game, actually. I'll be sitting just behind Mikel, but I will certainly be sitting on my hands.
Do you know, so if they play that, Tim, with, you're right, I think Jorginho and Partey, but if they drop Havertz there, you think they'll play Jesus through the middle? And then Sterling on the left, Saka on the right.
I think
Jesus
is injured.
I think if Jesus looks like he's going to be fit.
I think
he's going to be fit. Yeah, that's it. I think there was talk of him being fit.
I'm with Tim. I think Sterling plays tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think to beat Tottenham, and because they've got such a high line, you've got to have players that are good without the ball, who are prepared to run without the ball, and that's what beats Tottenham. People who are prepared to run without the ball and beat that line. You know, for me, my worry would be with Arsenal, Partey ain't got great legs. Jorginho hasn't got legs.
Not dynamic enough, is it?
They're top players, but they're not. And I don't see, if you put Havertz back as well, who's a quality player, I don't see where Arsenal win the ball back.
And isn't that part of the problem with Kai Havertz? I mean, in terms of his importance to Arsenal, we know he's hugely important. 2 Premier League goals already inside the first 3 games. But if he were to drop back into that midfield, one minute, you know, he's leading the line. The next minute, he's back in the midfield. In terms of knowing what his actual role is for Arsenal, that isn't helpful, is it?
No,
it's switching.
It's not, but it's nice if you're a manager to know you've got a top player that can play up front and then drop back into that position. Problem is, Arsenal will need a bit of a focal point tomorrow. You know, they will need a focal point. And if Havertz don't play, you know, Havertz is not a big, like, elbows man, but he's a big lad. He's a big lad. He's intelligent. He holds the ball up well for... You know, for someone who's a very good footballer, and I don't mean that, you know, he likes to flick balls as well, and he's got a good brain. But my problem's going to be is our Arsenal going to win the ball back in midfield, and I just think they'll be able to play through the lines, Tottenham, and I think they'll cause Arsenal major problems tomorrow.
Merce, let's put tomorrow into context for Arsenal because it's always a massive game, and then of course they've got Atalanta. The Europa League champions away in the Champions League. But then after that in the Premier League, it's Man City away. I hate even asking this question. We're only at match day 4, but with City and Liverpool going first today, that gap could be 5 points heading into the North London derby tomorrow. If that goes wrong for the Gunners, and then with City away to come next, already their title ambitions are taking some serious dents early on, aren't they?
Absolutely. For me, I think... They've got to get 4 points out of these next 2 games, in my opinion. I think 4 or...
So they have to win tomorrow, don't they?
Or draw the next 2 games. And, I just think if they go and draw tomorrow and then get beat by Man City, and if they draw tomorrow and then you don't see them beating Man City, it's going to be like 7 points. And I know people go, oh, there's 30-odd games left. If I said to you at the start of the season, with 38 games to go, at the start of the season... I'll have Man City, you have Arsenal, and I've got 7 points head start. No, it's hard enough to beat Man City off scratch. You're going to be 7 points behind already. Just put in perspective. People go, oh, yeah, but they can... When are Man City going to lose 4 or 5 football matches? Because they'd have to do that, because Arsenal are going to lose another 2. And then people go, oh, yeah, but they'll draw a couple. When do they draw? They reel off win. This is massive for Arsenal. They have to stay in there. They got a nice couple of games after Man City. I know they have. But they can't be playing catch-up. Not against Man City. Not the numbers they put up. I don't know if everyone agrees with me.
They beat Tottenham, they beat Man City. Are they favourites to win?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Well, that's what I'll be looking at.
Yeah, I'd be
if I was Mikel, I'd be telling them
they're
that.
the team to beat. If they can beat Tottenham away. Because it hasn't been kind. It hasn't. Villa away, Tottenham away, and then Man City away. They're 3 away games. They've had a hard start.
But the tale between City and Arsenal last season was different to the season before, wasn't it?
Yeah, but Arsenal have been there and they know, they were in front and then they got, this time now, or the season before, you don't want to be playing catch-up and then it's a grind and then you come in every week, you win and then you see Man City and they've won again.
Yeah.
With Man City, they got 3 or 4 hard games. That's it. They have, you're not... they play Ipswich at home. No one in their wild dreams are sitting there going, well, this is, it's just write that one off.
Yeah.
You can go tick, 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 tick. You're looking at 4 or 5 games. And if you're 7 points behind,
To win the Premier League, you need to be able to win games when some of your best players are out. We've seen it with Man City when Haaland was missing and
Kevin De Bruyne.
Missing, and they find a solution.
That's what Arteta has to do tomorrow.
Has to do that.
Yeah.
If he does that, wow.
And a nice way to mark that contract extension as well.
Victor Gyökeres's deal, Thomas Partey decision, Arsenal's next big move after Mikel Arteta's contract extension. Mikel Arteta has signed a new 3-year contract with Arsenal, extending his stay until 2027. This move reflects the club's long-term vision to remain a top footballing force. According to Football.London, Arsenal has locked in Arteta, eliminating any uncertainty regarding his future and ensuring continuity at the Emirates Stadium. Arteta, who joined Arsenal from Manchester City in late 2019, was in the final 12 months of his previous contract. Approaching his 5-year mark as manager, both parties were eager to solidify the relationship. Arteta is the latest key figure to commit his future to the club, following in the footsteps of players like Martin Odegaard, Bukayo Saka, William Saliba, and Ben White, who have all signed new contracts. With Arteta's future secure, what's next for Arsenal? Football.London reporters have weighed in on what the next major decision for the club should be following this significant move. Josh Holland. Arsenal has done well in recent years to strengthen Arteta's squad. After the successful acquisitions of Gabriel Jesus and Alexander Zinchenko in 2022, followed by the club record signing of Declan Rice in 2023, it's clear that the team has been strategically enhanced. Ricardo Calafiori has also bolstered the defense. However, the 2024 transfer priority is already clear: Arsenal must sign a new striker. While Arsenal is in a strong position to win the Premier League this season, a failure to do so could lead to mounting pressure for them to recruit a top-quality number 9. Arteta's contract extension means he could be at the helm for up to 8 years, giving the club ample time to build for the future. Yet, improving the forward options will be essential if they are to stay competitive at the highest level. Amy Wilson securing Arteta's new contract is a fantastic move for Arsenal. The club has grown significantly under his leadership, and ensuring his long-term presence adds valuable stability. Now, Arsenal must turn their attention to the contracts of Thomas Partey and Jorginho, both of whom will be free agents next summer. By January, these players could sign pre-contract agreements with new clubs, leaving Arsenal with no financial return. While the addition of Mikel Merino in the summer has pushed both Partey and Jorginho down the pecking order, their experience is vital for squad depth. The current injury and suspension concerns highlight the importance of having strong backup options. With clubs reportedly interested in Partey, Arsenal needs to decide whether to extend his and Jorginho's contracts, let them go for free, or sell them in January. Tom Coley. The contract situation at Arsenal is becoming urgent. In just 3 months, both Partey and Jorginho could be fielding offers from clubs across Europe, potentially negotiating pre-contract deals. Losing both players for free would not only weaken Arteta's midfield options, but it would also require significant squad reinforcements next summer, which could be financially draining. Tying these players to short-term extensions would make sense, even if they aren't key figures in the starting 11. In addition to resolving these contract situations, Arsenal must address their depth issues in both midfield and attack ahead of the January transfer window. They need to ensure that Arteta has the necessary tools to compete in multiple competitions. Kieran King. Arsenal must act swiftly regarding the futures of Jorginho and Partey. Both players will be out of contract by next summer and could leave for free by signing pre-contract agreements with non-English clubs as early as January. Jorginho, who joined Arsenal from Chelsea in January 2023 for £12 million, has played a supporting role under Arteta. While he is set to turn 33 in December and may no longer be at his peak, his experience is invaluable. I would recommend keeping him for at least another season. On the other hand, Partey, who started Arsenal's first 3 games this season after a frustrating injury spell last year, could find himself overshadowed by younger players like Mikel Merino and Declan Rice. While he is still a solid option, I wouldn't keep him beyond his current contract. The club needs a more dynamic presence in midfield, and Partey may not be satisfied playing a backup role to someone younger with higher potential.